How do you solve a problem like Rashford? Well, in this video we'll try and piece a puzzle together why his form, or lack of, has fallen off a cliff. And I believe his United future is hanging in the balance. Now it's fair to say that Louis van Gaal and Manchester United stumbled across Rashford. Nobody really had heard of him. And he was a beacon of light that evaded the dark clouds that were hovering around Old Trafford, because we were really struggling. We lost against the likes of Bournemouth, Norwich in the league, crashed out to Wolfsburg in the Champions League in their own backyard by 3-2. The infamous game when Nick Powell was brought on for Juan Mata. Rashford made his debut against Midtjylland only because Will Keane and Martial were both injured. He's got goals in his debut in that game. He then made his Premier League debut, scoring 2 goals against Arsenal in a 3-2 victory at Old Trafford. He was christened as a star was born, and the future was looking very rosy. He then scored a couple of goals along our way to winning the FA Cup. Our first FA Cup win, by the way, since 2004. A trophy that eluded Sir Alex Ferguson there on in. Yeah, we got to 2 finals. Losing to Arsenal on penalty kicks. And against Chelsea at Wembley by a 0-0 courtesy of a late goal by Drogba. Van Gaal came as winner and he left as a winner. And Rashford helped him succeed. And he's won every single domestic trophy known to man. The 2 trophies that have eluded him is the Premier League and the Champions League. 2 trophies that Man United should be judged on in every way, shape and form. And it's a shame what's happening to Rashford because he's a talented guy. But he's becoming high maintenance at this moment in time, and he expects people to worship the ground he walks on. And he also, within that, expects people to roll out the red carpet for him. And I think that sends out the wrong message. Every time Rashford stumbles onto the pitch, he looks afraid. He's been stripped back, he's lost his mojo. And especially at Old Trafford, he's making the fans inside the ground afraid too. Because they don't know what he's going to do next. And nor does he. If he has a shot from 25 yards and it balloons into orbit, he's looking around thinking, is there going to be boos or sarcastic jeers? He's really not sure what's going to happen. And his off-field antics, yeah, you heard right, top Reds, and those had him at the back. His antics with owning the Tory government, which I found nauseating, to be frank. When he pulled their pants down, metaphorically speaking. No smut on this channel. Where he made the Tories overturn their decision to give, eventually, kids free school meals. Although it has to be said for balance, that not all the Tories voted against the school meals for kids. So I'll put that in for good measure. And obviously Rashford's campaign and all that. But he's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a pioneering politician to keep feeding his kids? I mean, who does he think he is? Jamie Oliver? Or is he going to be first and foremost doing his day job, playing for Man United Football Club? He has to pick and choose, one or the other. You can't do both. And I did say if his form does fall off a cliff, which it is already, that those especially on the Tory side will notice and go, aye, his off-field antics are affecting his on-the-pitch status. And there's a saying, don't quit the day job. You know? But he doesn't get any criticism because he's got an MBE or LB or whatever attached to his name. I mean, anyone can get one of those accolades, can't they? It seems. Giving out like, willy-nilly, like confetti, you know. So yeah, that is a problem, I think. And I know he's had injuries in the last 18 months. I think he's had a back spasm. He's had bruises left, right and centre, here, there and everywhere. And I understand that. But I do think that was partly his fault, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault, and the club's fault for not getting him the surgery he so desperately needed. You know, we did that with Roy Keane. He needed a hip operation. And we got it done. He was out for 3 months, but he was back towards the end of the season. on the middle of it, and we won the Premier League in 2003. And I have kindled it to Fernando Torres, because I remember it well, because he played in the pain barrier under Rafa Benitez. He then was taken off against Birmingham and St Andrews around about the 60th minute mark. He was never the same again. A year later, he went to Chelsea for £50 million and didn't regain the form, whatever that was, he showed when he was playing in England off the bat. So that derailed him, and I'm sure if he releases an autobiography along the way, he'll probably put that in the book as to why he didn't get, help for the problems that he was suffering. But as it stands for Rashford, the future's not looking bright. The future's looking elsewhere, because eventually there'll come a point where your busy mate in Manchester will wash your hands of you, and they'll go, do you know what? We can't help you anymore. Your form's fallen off a cliff. It's the end of the road. It's time for you to go. We can't do any more. Goodbye, on your way. See you later. And I think they're eventually going to come to that decision. And it is bubbling over to the surface at this moment in time. And I don't think he's got a future at Man United. And as I said before, it's a shame because he's a talented guy. But I do think he's getting ideas above his station. And what I really didn't like about his off-field antics was when he poked his nose into the Sir Everard case, which had nothing to do with him. You're not a crime bloody commissioner. Because if you remember, or maybe you don't, in the House of Lords, a woman stepped up and said there should be a curfew for men. And several people agreed with that. And I outed Rashford on Twitter for what he said. How dare you poke your nose in so it doesn't even concern you? Mind your own beeswax. He's getting ideas above his station. He thinks he's already made it. And he's on the slippery slope to the scrap heap. I don't know what I had to do with him. I mean, wasn't it the anniversary a couple of weeks ago of Sir Everard dying? Was Rashford refused to comment? Because he usually does to comment on other things, doesn't he? It's unbelievable. And he gets away with it. Because he's got a British passport, he's for the youth, and he's a fanboy's favourite. And put it all together in the melting pot is a recipe for disaster, I'm afraid. He hasn't been called up to the England squad, which I think is beneficial for him. He has gone to recharge his battery, so to speak. Gareth Southgate only picks players who are in form, and Rashford quite clearly isn't in form. So I think the break would do him a hell of a lot of good. He needs to find himself again, like if you go backpacking, that sort of thing. Going on a sabbatical. A bit like what Pep did, basically. So that's something Rashford has to think about, as well. And he's coming to decisions, isn't he? People are looking at him, they're going, what's going on here? And people will happen to him, and it is happening to him. So I can't call this now. I generally can't. What's going to happen with him? It's up to him, the club, and his entourage to sort this out. And I think his PR team or whatever love to put it about. And I'm glad he's getting criticism. It's about time too. He deserves criticism, and he's getting it. And that's all there is to it.